So this is my complete workflow in make.com for automating my personalized Etsy orders. So instead of creating those files manually every single time, the whole creation process runs automatically. And with more than 1,500 sales, this has honestly made a huge difference for me. In this video, I will show you step by step how I configured my workflow. So let's jump in. By the way, if you don't want to rebuild this whole structure by yourself, you can also download my blueprint and use that as your starting point. You'll find the link in the description below. And now let's go through it step by step, starting with configuring the webhook in the Etsy developer portal. For that, copy the URL of your webhook and go over to the Etsy developer portal. Click on Manage Your Apps. To set this up, you need an approved Etsy app. If you don't have that yet, watch my previous video first, because in that video I show exactly how to create one. But if you already have one, click on the three dots here and go to the webhook portal. There you can add a new endpoint, paste in the URL from make and select the correct event. In our case, it would be order paid event. And once that's saved, Etsy knows where to send the event when a new order is placed. To test if everything is working, click on the Testing tab, select our order paid event, and send an example. And if you go back to make, you should see that the webhook receives the data. Etsy also sends us the receipt ID, which is included in the resource URL. In the next module, I just extract this ID and store it in a variable so that it's easier to reuse it during the workflow. So next, I use the Etsy Get a Receipt module, where I put this ID to request all of the order details. For this, you need to connect your Etsy account in Make. Click on Add a connection name, click on Save, and a pop-up will open where you can grant make.com access to your shop. And once this module runs, it returns everything we need, like the purchased items and the personalization data. And this is the crucial part. Here you can tell whether the order is a customizable one or not, depending on the variations. If this is empty, it's an instant download and the workflow will end here. But if there is something inside, like in this case, you know it's a customizable order for which you want to generate a file. And this is exactly what I'm doing here in this part. For every purchased item of the order, I filter out only the items that actually require personalization. So I set up a filter that checks if there is something inside the variations array. And if that's the case, I create a folder in Google Drive under My Drive/Etsy using the receipt ID as the folder's name so that everything stays organized. And of course, you need to connect your Google account here as well. This is a bit more involved than connecting Etsy because they need a client ID and a secret. Just follow the official guide, it's very well explained. And now it's getting interesting. For every customizable item in the order, I want to generate a personalized file. So basically, I go through each item one by one and process them individually. And the first thing I need to decide for each item is which template to use. So in the next module, I map each product to a specific template. I do that based on the SKU of the product. So for example, an item with SKU A uses template A and SKU B uses template B. If you don't know where to set the SKU of a product, go into a listing into the shop manager and you'll find it under price and inventory. You might now be wondering what value you should use instead of template A. That becomes clear when we look at the next module. So here it is. This is where the PDF is finally created using Craft My PDF. It's a PDF generator with a visual template editor. Here I recreate my designs and define which part should be dynamic, for example, the name at the bottom. And of course, every design has its own template ID. So let's go back to the module. Here, I pass in the output from the template mapper, which is the template ID, along with the personalization data from the order. The module then returns the file, and as a final step, I use another Google Drive module to save it to the folder I created earlier in the workflow. And that's it. Now I get a ready-to-use file, automatically created and stored. And one important thing to note. Etsy does not allow automatic delivery for personalized files. So you still have to upload the file manually in the shop manager to complete the order. But honestly, this still makes a huge difference. You don't have to copy and paste names anymore. You don't have to adjust the font size depending on how long the name is. You don't have to pick the right template manually and then constantly double checking if you did everything correct. It just works. And this has been a real game changer for me, especially with more than 1,500 sales. And if you now want to use the exact system I'm using, you can download my blueprint, import it into your own Make account and use it as a starting point for your own setup.